Hey everyone, happy Easter. Easter is actually a season in the Christian calendar. It goes for 50 days, but we're not going to take that long. We are going to spend this week looking at some of the resurrection stories from the Gospels. And today we get to finish up the Gospel of Mark. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so they could go and anoint Jesus' dead body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they came to the tomb. They were saying to each other, "Who's going to roll the stone away from the entrance for us?" When they looked up, they saw the stone had been rolled away. And it was a very large stone. Going into the tomb, they saw a young man in a white robe sitting on the right side. They were startled. And he said to them, "Don't be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He isn't here. Look, here's the place where they laid him. Go, tell his disciples, even Peter, that he is going ahead of you into Galilee. You'll see him there, just as he told you." Overcome with terror and dread, they fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. So that's the way that the oldest and best manuscripts of Mark end. If you look in English Bibles, it'll have other endings, some a short one that's like a verse long, and then others will have a much longer ending. Now, it could be that goes back to Mark, but again, the best evidence says that those other endings were written later by scribes who were kind of wanting to fill in some of the details, right? They sound like the other gospel accounts. And so we wonder, okay, well, why would Mark have ended there? Did he have more and he got cut off at some point early on? Could this actually be what Mark intended? Well, I think that's probably the best case. That this is really meant to be a cliffhanger. Right? It ends, the story of Jesus ends without us actually seeing him risen from the dead, but just being told that he is. And then seeing these women that they leave in terror and supposedly they don't say anything to anybody. Well, we kind of know that that can't actually be true because, well, we know the story. So somebody had to tell. They must have told eventually. And so I think what Mark is actually trying to do here by ending like this is to say, what are you going to do? What's your response going to be? I've told you who Jesus is. I've told you what he said about him rising. You've seen evidence that he's risen. Yeah, you haven't seen his risen body, just like they haven't. So are you going to choose faith or are you going to choose fear? Fear often does keep us from going out and saying what we've experienced of the risen Christ. But faith says that whether or not I've seen him face to face, I can go and I can tell the difference that his life has made in my life. And that makes a difference for the entire world. So, as we end Mark, know that Jesus is the Christ, know that he is risen, and go and tell what you've seen of him.